Hey guys, going to do something a little different today. I'm actually going to give you a full tour of my office, and I just want to preface it with keep in mind I am in the basement of the house that I'm in, and the office is actually just an old utility room. We had to come work at home. I had to convert it into an office, so I've been staying there for the last year with all of COVID going on. And so, I think I worked with what I have pretty well. So we're going to go ahead and start. And this is right outside the office when you come down the stairs. I have this movie poster banner for the first part of it. This was the big one that hung up in the movie theater. And then I've got this curtain covering the door to my office. And the outside of my office is covered in different movies and posters and different things like that. I'm just a big movie and nerd in general. And then we come into the office and we'll start over here. I have this shelf up here that I have some different pops. We got Conan and Lord of the Rings and Bob Ross, some Game of Thrones, E.T. Ghostbusters, just some general pops. And then we come in down here into my desk, and this is my Doctor Who section. This is my workstation. And then, Po Buddy's Nerfict from The Good Place. And so I'm a big fan of Doctor Who as well. So I've got a big section of Doctor Who stuff. And then that comes over here, and this is my personal computer setup. Stephen King on the computer. And then I've got, Will and Grace there, and then The Mandalorian, some pop figures. And we've got Castlevania. And then pretty much the rest of it's Stephen King stuff, because we come into my comics that I have of his, that he co-wrote, ones that he actually wrote dialogue for or put in forewords on, and then Mad Magazine, and then we got some other magazines. And then it comes into my stand section here, so all my stand books. All the different memorabilia, including the pins that we got from the early premiere watching party, where we got to watch it early, so that was kind of cool. And then different stand. Now I'm still looking for different copies of this, where it's the 4 tapes, but they're each individual, and it makes up the picture of Flag walking like this, but I haven't found that yet for at least a decent price. And then it comes over here, we've got magazines. Now these are Playboys, Heavy Metals, USA Weekends, just different magazines. And I've got the different pop figures, except unfortunately this guy over here, he fell and broke his leg, and I haven't had a chance to get a new one, so he's just kind of hanging on with double-sided tape. And then you can actually see I've got these movie stills from the original Stand miniseries from the '94 that came in the Laserdisc edition. And then down here, this is actually one of my newer things. I'm super excited about. It's a portfolio, and in it are my different Castle Rock newsletters that I have. I've got 30 newsletters, but there's 33 issues total, because some of them are double. So that's kind of cool, a neat way to show it. And then I can, as I buy new ones, I've got spaces saved where I can just put them right in, and they fit right in the rest of it. And then down here we've got some different movies: Creepshow, Storm of the Century, Rose Red. Loved Rose Red, big fan of that. This up here is actually a container of dust. The guy had found the original movie prop in a junkyard and actually restored it. And as he restored it, he sanded it down and everything, and kept the dust and sells it. So I thought that was kind of cool. TheGoblinProject.com, you can check it out. Then, I have my audiobooks. And then we come over here to the Dark Tower section. I've got them all displayed, the original books, and then 4.5. And then this one was a big find of mine. I was super happy to get this one. I had been looking for it for a decent price for a long time. I got another video that kind of explains that, so super happy with that find. And then we got, book 1, 2, 3, 4, all of them down there. Then the Concordance, and what's the other one? Oh, the Companion. So we got that there, and then we've got the comics as well over here on the sides. And then that brings us over into my It section. I've got the t-shirts and the hat, some artwork. This is actually a Dark Tower comic poster. And then we got my It collection. I like the French editions, how the three books go together to make one picture. And then we got the UK edition and the US original edition. So yeah, big fan of Pennywise, as you'll see. Now there's actually an It clue that I'm also looking for, but I haven't found it yet for a decent price. And we got the pops. And now over here we have the black and white older Pennywise and the colored one. And then we have the same one for the new one. And then we have these pop figures. And then that brings us over here to my section, books about King, books that King was wrote a foreword for or edited, non-fiction King works, anthologies that he has short stories in, the Bachman portion, and it ties right into Regulators and Desperation. I've got those right next to each other because they go together, and that ties into the King. And then that brings us into the different King story sections. So here's the different books that are just stories and not collections. Got a couple shelves of those and another King t-shirt that my fiance bought me. And then got these box sets. I picked a couple of those up at a used bookstore. Was super happy to get it. And the Misery Returns cover. I'd actually picked up that book and it didn't have the Misery cover on it. I didn't know where it came from. And then I realized it was actually just an alternative cover to Misery that was in front of it. Salem's Lot. That's not really a Salem's Lot pop, but it's the closest thing I could find. Carrie, Pet Cemetery. And the reason I have these two here is one has the misprint. It says when it's talking about Tabitha's book Caretakers, it's supposed to be 1983, but one of them says 1982. I don't think the misprint actually adds any value, but I think that's just kind of cool, so I picked up another copy. Gerald's Games, got the handcuffs, what those go for. And then we come up here and we have the collections. 4 Past Midnight, Hearts in Atlantis, Different Seasons, which is my favorite collection, of course. You can see by how many that I have, including all the Rainbow Variety covers. And then it goes into just the rest of the collections and Skeleton Crew. And again, that's not an actual monkey with symbols. I am looking for one of the old school monkeys with symbols, but they're kind of expensive. But in the meantime, I found that pop figure. It's from a video game. I'm not even sure which one. But yeah, and then that brings us right back to the beginning. So that is my whole office. Nothing super fancy. I work with what I got. Got my own little reading nook there, which is kind of nice. And the floor, of course, is just carpet samples because they're cheap and I'm cheap. And whatever money I can save, I can spend on books. So hope everyone's staying safe and keep reading.